Dear student, welcome to my online class. Hope you are well by the grace of Almighty. We have been in lockdown for a long time. That is why our authorities decided to conduct the class through online. This is MD Tahirul Islam, Assistant Teacher English, Lagos Public School and College, Rangamati. Today, I am going to discuss about the transformation of sentences, Part-01. Before going to the further discussion, we need to know what is the difference between the transformation and conversion. Transformation of sentences means changing the sentence into another form without changing the meaning. Transformation মানে হচ্ছে কোন সেন্টেন্সের রূপের পরিবর্তন হবে কিন্তু অর্থের পরিবর্তন হবে না। Conversion of sentences mean changing the sentence into another form with changing the meaning. সেন্টেন্সের রূপের পরিবর্তনের সাথে সাথে অর্থের পরিবর্তন হবে। Look at the example first. He is a student. সে একজন ছাত্র। He is not a teacher. সে একজন শিক্ষক নয়। এখানে শিক্ষকের অপোজিট শব্দ হচ্ছে ছাত্র। তার মানে নিতত্ব খাবো। সে শিক্ষক নয় মানে সে একজন ছাত্র। Look at the example. Affirmative, he is a student. সে একজন ছাত্র। He is not a student. সে একজন ছাত্র নয়। সরাসরি নাবোধক রূপের পরিবর্তনের সাথে সাথে অর্থের পরিবর্তন হয়ে গেল। Now jump into the transformation of sentence from affirmative to negative. Rule number 1. Only, alone, and merely in affirmative sentence. Replaced by, in case of a person, none but. In case of a things, nothing but. In case of a number, not more than or not less than. Look at the example first. Only he can help us. In case of person, we have to use the none but. None but he can help us. He has only a ball. He has only a ball. A ball is the things. That is why I have to use a nothing but. He has a nothing but a ball. In case of a number, he has a merely 10 taka. He has not more than 10 taka. Or you can say that he has not less than 10 taka. Rule number 2. Must is replaced by cannot but or cannot help. In case of a cannot help, we'll have to use the verb plus ing. Look at the example first. We must obey our parents. But in the state of the must, we'll have to use the cannot but. We cannot but obey our parents. Look at the example. We must obey our parents. We cannot help obeying our parents. In the state of the must, if I add the cannot help, we'll have to use the verb plus ing. Rule number 3. Both and replace it by not only and but also. Look at the example first. Both Dolan and Dola were excited. In the state of the both, we'll have to use the not only, and in the state of the and, we'll have to use the but also. Not only Dolan, but also Dola were excited. He had both mangoes and oranges. He had not only mangoes but also oranges. Rule number 4. And if join the two words, noun, adjective and a verb, replace it by the not only and but also. Look at the example first. He was obedient and gentle. Here and join the two adjectives, obedient and gentle. Before the first one, we'll have to use the not only, and in the state of the and, we'll have to use the but also. Look at the example. He made a promise and kept it. Here and added the two verbs. Before the first verb, we'll have to use the not only, and in the state of the and, we'll have to use the but also. Look at the example. Kareem and Rahim went there and added the two noun. Before the first one, we'll have to use the not only, and in the state of the and, we'll have to use the but also. Not only Kareem, but also Rahim went there. Rule number 5. Everyone, everybody, every person, every plus common noun, all, replace it by there is a noun. And attach part with everybody, every person, everyone, etc. We'll have to write the but and plus extension without any change. Look at the example first. Every mother loves her son. Instead of every, we'll have to write there is a noun. And we'll have to write the transport with every mother. We'll have to write part and rest of the sentence without any change. Look at another example. Everyone wishes to be happy. There is a no one. In the state of the every, we'll have to write there is a no. And we'll have to write the transport of the every one. And we'll have to write but and rest part of the sentence. We'll have to write without any change. Rule number 6. Soon is replaced by no sooner had. Middle part of the sentence, we'll have to write the then. And hardly and scarcely, we'll have to write well. Look at the example first. As soon as the thief saw the foolish, he ran away. In the state of the as soon as, we'll have to write no sooner had, but we'll have to remember, we'll have to write the third form of the verb. And in the state of the comma, we'll have to write the then. And look at another example. As soon as we saw him, he ran away. Hardly had she seen him when he ran away. In case of hardly and scarcely, we'll have to write the middle part of the sentence, when. Rule number 7. Absolute superlative degree or comparative degree, replace it by no other plus noun after superlative degree plus a task word s plus positive form s plus subject. What is absolute superlative degree? If I say only one boy is the best in your class, that means only one, that will be the absolute superlative degree. Look at example first. Dhaka is the biggest city in Bangladesh. So only Dhaka is in Bangladesh is the biggest. So that is why this is absolute superlative degree. If you want to transform from affirmative to negative, we'll have to write no other in the beginning of the sentence. We'll have to write noun after the superlative form. City in Bangladesh. We'll have to write the verb and s plus positive form of the superlative form s plus subject. Look at another example. Corruption is more dreadful than any other problem of Bangladesh. No other. And then we'll have to write the noun after the comparative form. Problem of Bangladesh. We'll have to write verb. We'll have to write s and positive form of the comparative form. We'll have to write s plus subject. Rule number 8. Sometimes affirmative sentence are changed into the negative by using opposite words of adjective, adverb, and a verb not easily used in a sentence. Look at the example first. I shall remember you. I shall not forget you. That means here we'll have to make a negative, write down the opposite word of the verb. Look at another example. We should be honest in our life, but we'll have to make a negative. At first we'll have to use a not. We should not be dishonest in our life. We'll have to use the opposite word of adjective. Rule number 9. Always replace it by never and opposite word of the principal verb or adjective. Look at example first. Raven always attends the class. Raven never misses the class. Instead of the always, we'll have to use the never and we'll have to write the opposite word of the principal verb. Look at another example. He is always reasonable. Instead of the always, we'll have to use the never and we'll have to write the opposite word of adjective. He is never unreasonable. Rule number 10. 2 and 2 replaced by so that. 2 is replace it by so and 2 is replace it by that. If the principal clause verb is a present simple tense, we'll have to use the cannot. If the principal clause verb is a past tense, we'll have to use the could not. Look at the example first. He is too weak to work. Make a negative. He is so weak that he cannot work. Instead of the first two, we'll have to use the so. Instead of the second two, we'll have to use that. The principal clause verb is a present simple tense. That is why we'll have to use the cannot. Look at another example. It was too poor to imagine. It was so poor that we could not imagine. The principal clause verb is a past tense. That is why we'll have to use the could not. Rule number 11. S replaced by not less than, not more than. Instead of the first S, not less or not more. Then we'll have to use the comparative form of the adjective, and instead of the second S, we'll have to use then. Look at the example. Affirmative. Simi was as wise as Remy. Simi was not less wise than Remy. So instead of the first S, we'll have to use the not less or not more. Then we'll have to use the comparative form of the adjective. And instead of the second S, we'll have to use the then. 12. Sometimes replaced by always and make a verb negative using a not. But where there is a no auxiliary, make a verb negative by taking a help of helping verb. Look at the example. Sanjida sometimes visits me. Sanjida does not always visit me. Instead of the sometimes, we'll have to use always but make the verb a negative. Then there is a no auxiliary verb. Verb is a present simple tense. We'll have to take the help of helping verb does. So Sanjida does not always visit me. Look at another example. A day laborer is sometimes heavy. A day laborer is not always heavy because we'll have to use the not, that is auxiliary verb, and in a state of the sometime we'll have to use always. Rule number 13. A few replaced by not many. Many replaced by not a few. So we should bear in mind that a few and many used in case of countable noun, and we'll have to make the verb negative using a not, but where there is a no auxiliary verb, make a verb negative using a helping verb. Look at the example. Bangladesh has a few scholars. Bangladesh does not have a many scholars. That is, in a state of the few, we'll have to use the many, and we'll have to make the verb negative and using the not. But where there is a no auxiliary, we'll have to take the help of helping verb. Look at another example. There are many people here. There are not a few people. That means in a state of the many, we'll have to use a few, but make the verb negative using the not. Rule number 14. Mass is replaced by not a little, and a little replaced by not mass. We should bear in mind that mass a little used in case of uncountable noun. So make the verb negative using a not, but where there is a no auxiliary verb, make the verb negative using the helping verb. He belongs mass money. He does not belong a little money. There is a no auxiliary verb, and that is why we'll have to take the help of helping verb. Look at another example. It has a little water. It does not have a mass water. There is a no auxiliary verb, that is why we'll have to take the help of helping verb. It does not have a mass water. In the state of a little, we'll have to use the mass, but we'll have to make the verb negative using the not. But where there is a no auxiliary verb, we'll have to take the help of helping verb. Now look at the transformation from assertive to interrogative. Rule number 1. If the assertive sentence is in the affirmative, you will have to change into negative interrogative. If it is in a negative, then we'll have to change it into bare interrogative. First condition to make interrogative sentence: put auxiliary verb am, is, are, have, has, had, or model auxiliary before the subject in interrogative sentence. Because first condition to make interrogative sentence: put auxiliary verb or a helping verb before the subject, then it will be transformed into the interrogative sentence. But we'll have to identify first assertive sentence is affirmative or a negative. If the assertive sentence is affirmative, we'll have to make a negative interrogative. If the assertive sentence is a negative, we'll have to make a bare interrogative. Look at the example. He was very gentle. The assertive sentence is affirmative. That is why we'll have to make a negative interrogative. That was not he very gentle. First conditions, we'll have to use the auxiliary verb before the subject. That means was before the subject and was not, because if the assertive sentence is affirmative, we'll have to make the negative. So that is why we'll have to use the not after the verb. Was not he very gentle? That means we'll have to use the sign of interrogations after the sentence. With another example, he's not a good person. The assertive sentence is a negative. We'll have to make a bare interrogative. Is he a good person? That means we'll have to put the auxiliary verb before a subject. Rule number 2. No auxiliary verb in a sentence. Change it by using do, does, did, or do not, does not, or did not. So where there is a no auxiliary, then we'll have to take the help of helping verb. So if the verb is a present simple tense, we'll have to take the help of do or a does. In case of third person singular number, use does or does not. In case of other person, we'll have to take the help of do or do not. Look at the example. He plays football. Does not he play football? Subject is the third person singular number. Verb is the present simple tense. We'll have to take the help of helping verb does. So that is why does not he play football. Look at another example. They did not play football yesterday. The verb is past simple tense. That is why we'll have to take the help of did. Assertive sentence is a negative. We'll have to make here interrogative. Did they play football yesterday? Rule number 3. Never and nothing replaced by ever anything. Look at the example. I never drink tea. Do I ever drink tea? We'll have to bear in mind that condition is, so we'll have to use the auxiliary verb before the subject. Then it will be interrogative. Where there is a no auxiliary verb, we'll have to take the help of helping verb. So there is a no auxiliary verb. That is why I have to take in help of helping verb do. Look at another example. There is a nothing on the table. Is there anything on the table? This was nothing indicate to the negative. That is why we don't need to make a negative in the verb. But first condition is we'll have to use the auxiliary verb before the subject. Rule number 4. Everybody, everyone, all replaced by who plus do not, does not, or did not. So in case of present simple tense, there is a no auxiliary. Past simple, there is a no auxiliary. Look at the example. Everybody wished to be happy. The verb is a past simple. Who did not wish to be happy? First we look at the assertive sentence is affirmative. We'll have to transform into the negative interrogative. Who did not wish to be happy? In the state of everybody, we'll have to use who. Then we'll have to make the negative. We know that assertive sentence is affirmative. We'll have to transform into the negative interrogative. So verb is a past simple tense. That is why I'll have to take the help of helping verb did. Look at another example. Everybody hates a liar. Who does not hate a liar? In the state of everybody, we'll have to use the who. And hates is verb is a present simple tense. That is why we'll have to take the help of helping verb does. The sentence is affirmative. That is why we'll have to transform into the negative interrogative. Who does not hate a liar? Stay home, stay safe.